Black Phone is directed by Scott Derrickson, director of Sinister and Doctor Strange, and stars Ethan Hawke, Mason Thames, and Madeline McGraw. Finney Blake is a shy but clever 13-year-old boy who is abducted by a sadistic killer and trapped in a soundproof basement where screaming is of no use. I remember watching this film back when it first came out in 2021 and was incredibly surprised by how much I was engaged with the emotional aspect of the story. I thought what the film was going for in terms of portraying its characters, what they are going through, how the town is treating this horrible situation in the movie. I thought it all felt really grounded, very realistic, and I thought Ethan Hawke was fantastic in the role as the Grabber. So with the sequel coming out, I want to revisit this film and look back on whether or not if it holds up or not. And I am happy to say, after giving the film another rewatch, The Black Phone is still quite possibly one of my favorite horror movies of this current decade. This movie is emotional, it is thrilling, it is scary, and as I said before, Ethan Hawke is fantastic in the role as the Grabber. He gave such an unnerving performance to where you are not sure what action his character is going to take. Is he going to lash out at Finney at some point? And the idea of the mask that he wears showcasing different emotions, whether he puts on a different part of the mouth or not, and how it comes apart. I thought it was absolutely brilliant and was put to good use to express so much emotion, yet also not have us truly understand what this killer is actually thinking or what he is going to do. So Ethan Hawke has to use a lot of his facial or the mouth expressions to make us believe in this character and have us be afraid of him. And Ethan Hawke just knocked it out of the park with his performance, and it's probably one of my favorites of his entire career. But the big standout performances for me were Mason Thames and Madeline McGraw here as their younger selves. I believe this is like one of their first roles that they took as child actors, and when I saw this film, I knew these kids were going places in Hollywood, especially Mason Thames. This is honestly one of the best child performances ever. He sells the anger, he sells the desperation of this situation of a kid who just wants to go home back to whatever's left of his family, which is his sister, and how he's trying to figure out different ways, calling the ghost of the dead kids in this black phone, trying to help him. All of that stuff just really worked. But again, as I said, it's his performance that sold me on this character. You really feel the desperate cries, the anger when he lashes out at someone, when he's trying to defend his sister from bullies, and you really do believe in this kid and want him to get out of so many bad situations because he's constantly bullied, he's always picked on, and being kidnapped by the Grabber is not step up, but how he starts to push himself to be stronger with the help of the ghosts of those dead kids from the past in this black phone, again, was a really good idea that really brought so much emotional weight to this film. Scott Derrickson's directing also was impeccable. I love the way he was able to portray this town as not a nice, squeaky, and clean town, but a place that also has a lot of bad apples, not just its Grabber, but there's a lot of bullies, a lot of uncaring adults, a lot of abusive parents, and it's just not a good situation or a good place for any kid to really grow up in. Some kids have to learn to defend for themselves, and that is really tough. Also helped make you believe that this is a lived-in town in the 70s that is very run down, very old. You can see a bunch of places where kids are willing to just hide out and do some bad stuff. The bathrooms are dirty, the schools feel not that well kept a bit, the houses are a bit deteriorated, and it is supposed to make it seem like it is a normal town, but the grungy, dirty, grimy look of the cinematography not only helps make the horror aspect of the film feel like there's a lot of tension or a sense of claustrophobia, but you feel that this entire setting and location is just not the best place to live in. If I were to have any problems with the Black Phone, is that there are some characters of the Ghost Kids that don't feel as fleshed out that I hope will be. Like, there are a few kids that do leave an impression on you, but there are just some that, at least the first couple kids that ring this Black Phone, that until at least a little later, we don't get much of an understanding of. And I wish we could have gone a little bit more from them, but it's not that big of an issue. And I also felt like the film took some of the cop characters a little less seriously than I would have liked them to have been. They felt like generic movie detectives and cops that you could pluck out from any movie and just pop them onto this. They did not really feel that special or interesting to watch whenever we cut to them. Like, they are important to the story and we get what they're doing and everything, and they work and they're functional, but I don't know, they're just like the few characters I just do not care for whenever they cut back to them. And there's a certain character that was a bit funny. I'm a little too funny, to be honest. That took me a little bit out from the movie. That is also trying to figure out what's happening to these kids. And the twist that they did with him, I don't know. It just felt like it was tonally not aligned with the rest of the film, and that aspect of the movie took me out of it. I'm trying to be as spoiler free as possible because I want you guys to see this movie, but there are just some characters that I just felt were a bit underdeveloped or were unnecessary or just tonally misplaced from the rest of the film. But other than some misplaced characterizations here and there from some supporting characters, I thought The Black Phone was brilliant. I thought this was an incredibly tense and thrilling horror movie with great characters, great drama, great emotion, great scares, great performances, beautiful direction. This is everything I could want in a horror movie, and I would highly recommend you guys go check this out if you haven't. I'm going to give The Black Phone an A-. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please leave a like, subscribe, comment, and I'll see you guys next time.